Hello everybody, this is Jack Dennis and welcome to our channel. We're continuing our series of flies tied by John Barr, and this is one of my favorites coming up. This is Bou Face. It's really a leech, a small screamer pattern. It can imitate a whole bunch of different insects and trout food that lurk in the depths. Trout, when they're not feeding on hatches, will be lurking around looking for morsels. It can be a variety of different types of leeches and worms, and also crane fly nymphs. There's a lot of stuff in small little minnows too. There's a lot of little strange creatures that the trout will be searching for, and this is what I call it, a great searching pattern.
Next, we're gonna finish with a bang. So we'll do the Bou Face.
Oh, one of my absolute favorite flies.
The Bou Face, which has caught my.
Got to change your vice thing. We were tying those 18s.
Yeah.
Now we got to kick it up. Okay,
What up to a 4?
Okay, Bou Face is a leech pattern, right?
It's it certainly is a good leech, but this pattern's been around for 30 years.
Oh,
I've caught my biggest pike, my biggest bass, and my biggest trout on this pattern.
I have killed them on, you know what I use it for? In these aquariums. I have to give demonstrations after all these pike fishermen and throwing these big things at these trout, and like they won't take anything, but they'll take a brown one of these. Now these are hatchery fish, but it just something about it, it just turns them on.
Well, there's something totally unobtrusive about it. I call it the plastic worm, and I tie the tail.
That's a rabbit. Okay, let's just go back to it. You're getting so much on there. What's the hook?
The hook is a 200R.
200R.
And it's just a brass bead.
Right. That's a heavier brass bead, a big one.
Yeah, big one. But it sinks very slowly. It still gives you a nice little dipping action.
Right.
And you can tie it without the bead.
And you've got a rabbit strip here, a zonker strip?
Just a rabbit zonker strip. You want the part that sticks behind the fly about the same length as the hook. So you separate the fur there.
And using a heavier thread, a 3/0 or what, probably a 70 or a 140.
Actually,
can be anything.
Actually, I had my 140 out, but the 70 is just fine. And the funny thing is, I don't even put a body on this.
Yeah, you don't really need it.
It's a very simple fly, and I kind of like to wet the fibers.
Mm-hmm. Now it's tied on top.
I'm tying it down on top, pulling forward. And maybe make my last tie-in right there.
Now, what's the name? Bou Face.
Bou Face, and where it got its name is
sounds Cajun.
Marabou for a face.
What? Marabou.
We're putting
Bunny for the Marabou. It's just a great name, Bou Face.
It's short for Marabou.
Yeah, that's all right. That'll work.
And
it still has a Cajun. To me, it has a good Cajun sound to it. So, I mean, you could say you got this idea when you're fishing redfish down in New Orleans. People would believe you.
Yeah. But it's like there's nothing obtrusive about it. It looks alive. Okay. I'm a very subtle flash. I got two strands of the freshwater Mirage Flashabou.
This was it here, folks. Here,
much narrower than saltwater.
Okay.
So I'm putting very subtle flash in here, and I got 2 strands that I'm just going to put over the hook. Pull it up.
Well, you know,
tie them all in at the same time.
No, it's nice that summer's coming on here, late May, and I just love a dark fly late in the evening on this time of the year.
Oh, I agree with you.
It's just something magic about it.
I agree with you.
Because we're starting to have the longest days, you know, and there's light all the way up 9:30, 10 o'clock, and about that time that sun hits the mountain, out comes the black.
Yep.
Okay, now you got Marabou.
Now we're going to put a little plume on top and a little plume on the bottom. I put them on and I kind of roll them around the shank.
I want to also tell everybody, keep going, I'm just going to talk to them about Marabou plumes. They're much different than Marabou feathers, so make sure you get the plumes when you order.
Marabou, they call them technically Marabou bloods.
Bloods, right.
Yeah, not the big long plumes. Marabou bloods is what you want.
All right, you're cutting that off.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of variations. You can add a little of this, a little of that. But let me tell you, simplicity. This is one of my favorite flies.
Is it?
Oh, I've got about at least 3 colors: olive, brown, and black in my box right
That's what I carry. All brown, black.
All you need.
Period.
Yep.
And you know, there's just something about it that exudes life. Every single thing on here is moving.
Yep.
And they may have never seen anything like it. They may have never seen a leech in their life, but it just looks alive.
It looks alive.
And it's very effective dead drifted.
Yep. Especially in the fall when you don't want a lot of movement.
Yeah.
Many mistakes that are made in fall fishing when it gets cold and that temperature drops down in the 30s or even below that. You got to take the movement off and dead drift these marabous.
Yep. And this flies, I was just talking to Dennis Black, who started Umpqua Feather Merchants, and he spends half his year in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And he says this is his go-to fly in olive. He
Yep.
dead drifts in olive over there.
Absolutely.
And he says he keeps it top secret.
Yep. You don't want to tell those Kiwis that.
No, he doesn't tell anybody.
They think they have to nymph those fish.
Yeah, so he dead drifts, he just told me that last summer, dead drifts a black Bou Face and hammers fish. Now you can leave it like that if you want to just kind of clean it up a little bit. You can just get a little
And dub it on.
Marabou, a little Marabou dubbing. Just
now, if you have trouble doing this, you can just do a dubbing loop and put it in there and spin it around and do it that way too. But it's pretty easy if you can just...
That just tops it off like that, Jack. I mean...
Yep. Why complicate it?
Yeah. So again, a very simple fly, but one, as I said, caught my biggest pike, my biggest bass, my biggest trout on it.
I got something to show you. Look at this. Watch while you're finishing it off. Look at the TV monitor. Here's a Bou Face underneath the water. How could you resist it? Look at that. Look at that movement, how it's breathing oh, look, you can just see that mirage flashing there.
I know.
And I'll tell you, I'll sell you this footage real cheap. In fact, I think I'll just give it to you. Anyway, there it is, Johnny.